Hello, welcome back to Madrona's Pulse Teachings. I'm Iris, and we are going to chat about August 2025, this month that by the time you're watching this, we have officially entered. I'm making this the day before August 1st on July 31st, actually, as the Sun and Mercury are conjunct. We come into August coming out of the Mercury Sun conjunction in Leo. That's with Mercury retrograde. We have got Chiron has just stationed retrograde in Aries. And we, of course, have Neptune and Saturn retrograde in Aries as well. And originally I was going to do this kind of as a play-by-play, as I do with the astrology of the week ahead, and do that for the month, just because it is a dynamic month. I know 2025 itself is dynamic, but that didn't feel right to me as I was sitting with the astrology. So I really actually just want to chat with you about the message that just comes over and over as I sit with the astrology of August. And that message is surrender. And that has to do with the outer planets. It especially has to do with the role of Saturn in the cosmic symphony that is the outer planets of August. We also have some other aspects. We have some that are potentially bringing up some challenging situations, like Mars being opposite Saturn and Neptune, and yet there's also such deep opportunity for growth in our relationships with that transit. A lot of people are just going to this doomsday interpretation of it, as we are taught and conditioned to do, but there's a lot of growth that can come from that as well. We also have this beautiful conjunction of Cancer, of Jupiter and Venus, and this fixed star Sirius. So, August just has dynamic energy, but the biggest piece of August is that it brings us into this very close conversation between the outer planets, Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, Saturn and Neptune retrograde very close together in Aries, and Uranus, who is in Gemini and is also getting very close with Sedna, who's in Gemini. And we have been working with this conversation for these past few months, but August is when it becomes the most exact. And it literally is all of August. And then September 1st, Saturn re-enters Pisces, and Saturn then begins to take some distance from that kind of outer planet cosmic conversation. And that Saturn is going to go back to 25 degrees of Pisces. And then we will be talking about February 2026, when we finally get our exact conjunction of Saturn and Neptune together in Aries again. But we are not there. We are here. We are in August, just starting it out. And this energy is incredible. This astrology is incredible, because we have this close conversation between all the outer planets. And while, yes, it is challenging and in some cases tumultuous, and while it is difficult this time to be a human being, and we are seeing so many disparate narratives emerging, we are seeing such a clutching at power and old power paradigms, and we are seeing the direct pain that causes for people. And yet this is a time when there is this alignment happening that is an opening into literally new realities that were not possible before now. And so much of this is heightened for us personally because of Saturn, because the outer planets are changing paradigms. And yet when they bring this energy directly into Saturn, that changes paradigms in our plane. In Aries, it changes paradigms in our bodies, in our will, in our desire. And it is rebirthing something new, something that I like to really work with as the reclaiming of that Saturn fire witch, which when you are watching this, if you're watching this on the day that I uploaded it, then you can still register for our workshop, which is on August 2nd. And the reason that is so important is what these paradigm shifts are offering us in terms of actually releasing the power over structures that emerged through, in the West, the patriarchal oppressive force that then extends into many other manifestations of power over. And it's so important when we say that this is an ideology of power over that gets embodied in every person. And these paradigm shifting moments of the outer planets, of Uranus awakening us to new ideas and actualizations and understandings in our communities of our higher self coming through into this mind, in this body, connections, ideas, ways of actually bringing justice into the here and now, into the details. That's what it gives us an opportunity for. While Neptune and Aries are literally completely dissolving the structures by which we as individuals have been organized in societies and have been taught to internalize understandings of identity and success and etc. that just don't align with the new paradigms that are coming forth. And of course, Pluto, our great transformer, who is helping us, I use the word helping on purpose, to become aware of the ways that we ourselves haven't been able to show up as authentically as we want, in all the different ways that happens in our life. And what do you know? That's because of how strongly so many of us get conditioned by society, by family, by the traumas we survive, by the ongoing systemic marginalizations. And yet, right now, this month, we have an opportunity of all these outer planets talking with each other, funneled into that Saturn, who's conjunct Neptune in Aries. Right? And so personally, we can embody, intuit, come into understandings of these new paradigms. However, Saturn is retrograde. Neptune is retrograde. So this is not the time of driving forward and creating everything and just accomplishing. This is the time of deep surrender. Saturn in Aries retrograde is not the easiest energy. Add into that Neptune, add into that the other fire retrogrades that we have. It's not easy. It's actually a big ego check. It is potentially even stopping us in our tracks at where we thought we were moving forward, so that we can see why we're not ready to move forward yet. We have to go, Saturn and Neptune have to go back into Pisces. We have to go back into that dissolving of the ego, to that union with the collective unconscious, with the ocean, with the void that is also the heart and seed of the divine mystery, the eternal presence. And that's a big journey. And that's the rest of 2025. But August sends us into that. And while Pluto and Uranus and Sedna and Neptune are all talking with this Saturn, we can really be absorbing quite a lot this month. And however this month plays out, if we've got to buckle our seatbelts in, if there's tensions arising, if there's mighty waves that are quite literal from the ocean and also emotional and metaphorical, if there's beautiful breakthroughs, if there's a moment of embodiment of love from that Jupiter and 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 Venus coming together in Cancer, however the month plays out, there is need to surrender to the greater process at work that is massively too much for our mind to understand. And I'm sorry, but any astrologer that's out there saying this and this and this and this is not really being that honest. Because this is astrology that is beyond what we have known. And it's like the outer planets take prediction, especially Uranus, and it's like, let go of prediction, which does come out of also patriarchal uses of astrology and is about control, and come into co-creative presence, which with that Saturn retrograde, especially for August, while it's moving through the final retrograde stage of Aries, is about surrendering our will to the process. And because we're always co-creating, the surrender is never, it's not a victimized surrender. It is not a power over scenario of surrender. It's a surrender into the beautiful mystery that we are part of. And as a part of our ego releases us into that, that is when we are able to truly intuit how our path is unfolding, what the call of Goddess is, how we are being carried forth. And what is quite incredible is that we have two Virgo, sorry, we got a visit from Charlotte. She wants a little love. We have two Virgo new moons in our next cycle. So we have one in August and then we have one in September. And the first Virgo new moon is literally at 0 degrees and the second is at 29 degrees. So that Virgo energy is bookended with these new moons. And they're both talking directly to Saturn. The first is in an inconjunct with Saturn at 0 degrees of Aries before it's going to enter into Pisces. And the second is at that 29th degree of Virgo when Saturn's at 28 degrees of Pisces. And that's an opposition with the new moon. So, both, and that's Virgo new moons, that is seeding in to new structures within this transitional period, within this paradigm shifting moment. And Saturn is there for both of them at this moment. And, that inconjunct can bring up a little bit of a push and pull, but it is bringing us forth into seeding in to what we cannot see, but we can feel with our intuition, the emergence that is happening, the birthing that is happening. But this pulls us into February. We really don't need to know where it's going, but we do need to surrender that drive for control and come in and be in this moment. So there's so much and it's deep, and that is what I'm going to leave you with as we are moving into August, and I am sending lots of love, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.